Welcome back to another episode of World Traveler Cooking. This week we're going to make Skruzdėlynas. Skruzdėlynas is, it means anthill or ant colony in Lithuanian, but it's actually a pastry. People decorate it with other things like poppy seeds or raisins, but we're not going to do that this time. This is a set of layers of pastry that have been thinly rolled, fried, and then stuck together with a honey syrup, which we'll make here. The ingredients are actually really simple. I think I forgot to bring out the salt, but we will have a little bit of salt. We have eggs, 4 eggs. We will put in 5 tablespoons or so of sour cream. We'll put in enough sugar, should be close to 4 cups or half a kilogram, somewhere in that vicinity. And then for the syrup, we will have another tablespoon or so of sour cream. We will have 200 grams of sugar, and we will have 200 grams of honey. We'll also have just a little bit of water to melt the sugar together and make the syrup. So, first step is we're going to go ahead and make the dough. So we're going to start with our eggs, mix in the sour cream, and then we'll mix in the flour. So let's go ahead and get started. So for the dough, first in go our eggs, and then we will add the sour cream and beat that together, and then the flour. And into the sour cream and eggs, we're just going to add a pinch of salt, just so we don't forget later. And just going to beat these together until I have something nice and smooth. And once I have something nice and smooth, we'll start adding our flour. The exact amount of flour is going to differ depending upon what your flour is like, but we want a soft, pliable, but non-sticky dough. So we are almost to the point where I think we want to start adding our flour. And basically we're going to add flour a bit at a time. And the standard advice is don't add all your flour at once because you don't necessarily know exactly how much you're going to need. So this is something which probably would have been easier with the stand mixer, but we can do it by hand. So I'm just going to keep adding flour until we're at about the right consistency. And then I will be back. I don't think I need to show you each little step. So I think I've added about the amount of flour I kind of expected. This is just a tiny bit sticky, so I'm going to dust it with just a little more flour. But we're getting really, really close. Thing is that we're going to roll this really thin, so we definitely don't want it sticky, but we're also going to let this mature. Let the gluten's develop for a couple of hours. So if it's a tiny bit sticky right now, that's not the end of the world. We definitely don't want it too hard because we're going to roll this really thin. So I think this is good. So we are going to go ahead and just let this sit for about 2 hours and let the dough mature. Okay, be back in 2 hours. So now actually I came back after 3 hours and this dough isn't sticky much at all. But to be safe, we will oil this cutting board and our rolling pin. And I'm also going to heat up some oil to fry. And then we're going to roll this out just about as thin as we can, ideally just almost transparent. So now I'm going to go ahead and throw this in the fryer, and we'll go from there. So into the fryer it goes, and we'll let it fry while we get our next one ready. So you want it maybe to be just a little bit golden brown like this. You don't want it to be too dark. So I'm going to let it cook just a little longer. I'll take this one out. We'll get the next one in. I'll be back when I have all of this done. So after we're done frying these, we have a large number of these pastry layers. Some are thinner than others, some are smaller than others, some are more well done than others. That's fine. Ideally, maybe they should be a little more evenly done, but I guess this is the way they came out. So next up, we make the syrup, and then we assemble this whole thing. So I have 200 grams of sugar here, and to this, I'm going to weigh out 200 grams of honey. I'll put a volume comparison in the comments. And I'm just going to pour that in. And there we have 200 grams of honey. Into that, we will add 2 spoonfuls of water and 1 spoonful of sour cream. So in goes our spoon of sour cream. That's a rather big one. Guess that'll be good. And in goes our water. Now we're going to start heating this up. We're going to boil and stir it together until we get a thick syrup that forms like a hard, that basically solidifies when we drop it in ice water. So we're just going to stir this and heat it, and eventually everything should dissolve, and at that point I'll come back and we will test to make sure that it's hard enough. If not, then we'll just keep cooking it for longer to boil off some of the sugar. So here, sorry for that. So here I have just a little bit. I'm going to drip it in the ice water, and it's looking pretty solid. So I think we're good here. I guess we will continue. We'll assemble the cake now. So to assemble this, I am going to basically start with one of my larger pieces here. And I'm assembling these in 2 parts because I'm afraid of storage issues. Despite the fact that this is named ant colony, I don't want it to be food for an ant colony. So I want to make sure I can store it afterwards. Sorry for the conversation in the background. Has somebody working on the roof. And then basically put another piece on, and we keep repeating. So basically put another one on, add syrup, and we're going to keep repeating this over and over. We want the largest one sort of near the bottom because otherwise it's going to look rather funny, and that's going to present some practical challenges also. So put another one of the larger ones on here. The idea is that this ends up kind of resembling an anthill. It would resemble an anthill even more, of course, if I decorated it with poppy seeds. So, just going to keep that up, and I'll be back in a few minutes. And here is one of our 2 anthill cakes. I'm going to let it cool down now, and hopefully solidify a little bit, and then I'll be back. So as you can see, I made 2. I did it this way just so I could put something over them to keep ants out. This is kind of funny given the name. Now I'm going to try a taste test. Just going to take, I think I'm just going to eat part of this top layer here. I'm going to tear it off. So it is quite sweet. Not super sweet, but it's all quite sweet. Definitely in dessert territory. The texture is a little chewy. It's nice. A little crispy. It's nice. Flavor is very, you can really taste the honey. Obviously that's the primary flavor. Yeah, I like it. I can see how this would be totally comforting if this was something you grew up with. It has this very sort of home-like character. Now, if you find this content interesting, please like, share, subscribe. If you make a dish like this, you do it a little differently. Love to hear how. Always great to hear in the comments. On top of that, no, I just can't get over it. This is. I wasn't so sure the first time I took a bite of it, but it's actually really, really good. I like it. Anyway, I'll have the recipe in the description. Bon appetit, and see you next week.